Tonight's explorations begin with Jaipur Amber Ale from Brazen Hall Brewing in Winnipeg. They describe it as being deep in color, rich in flavor, and having flavors of caramel, subtle chocolate, and some earthy yet fruity notes in the aroma. An interesting tale, which may or may not be true, of where the name came from for this beer. Who cares if it's true? It's an interesting beer. So after last week's project, I figured I needed something easy to do for a while, just relaxing. So when I was stocking up on supplies like that, there was a box by the cashier that said, "Free, take one." So I did. And of course, I chose something that has the magic word LED on it. Also useful and interesting was the fact that it's USB rechargeable, multiple settings. So we do have this little USB cable, just a short, cheap little one. And then we have the fancy light-up armband. On the side, it's got the USB charging port. And I don't see anything else. Oh, okay, under the cover there's a little pushy button. And if you slide it out, it's got this little tube here, which is essentially a light pipe. Let's just put that back in for the full effect before we get too carried away here. So that just slides inside a clear plastic sleeve there, and if I turn off some of these lights, you may be able to see it blinking actually. There, that's some of the lights off, not all of them. It's still fairly bright in here, but I think you can see that blinking. So it's just typical light pipe stuff. It's basically using the same principle as fiber optics, although this is lossier, so it's scattering some light out the sides. But most of the light is still going through right to the end, just like a fiber optic would. So the first push of the button turns it on to the fast flashing mode, second push to a slow flashing mode, third to a solid on, and fourth turns it back off again. Nothing earth-shattering there. A lot of blinky light things do that. So I guess let's just go inside it and see what it has to tell us. The case seems to be glued or welded together or something, although there is a seam, so I should hopefully be able to get a spudger of some sort in there and crack it open. There, it's starting to separate. That's good. So there's the little weather cover for the USB. There is the LED on the front, a 3mm LED. And we have a little pouch cell on the back side here. Looks like it's got double-sided foam tape underneath it, which is the perfect application for this non-conductive spudger. I think I can jam that in there and pop it out, hopefully, maybe. Because I'd like to be able to see what's underneath that little cell. No doubt a lithium cell. Well, that popped off fairly easily. Let's see if there's anything underneath this tape to indicate the capacity of it. I'm not expecting there to be, but you never know. No, I'm not seeing any lettering in there at all. Okay. Regardless, for a freebie, that's a useful little pouch cell, which I will no doubt salvage for my collection. So on this side of the board, we just have a little dome switch, which cycles through the three modes. On this side, we have two chips, resistor, 3 resistors, and the LED, and what looks like another little LED there, probably a charge state indicator or something. So let's see what current it charges at, just for interest's sake. Looks like 100 milliamps is what it's showing on there, and yeah, that little surface mount LED is in fact a charging indicator. So it'll probably either go out or change color, probably go out when this thing is fully charged. Let's see if we can see what those two chips are. This one is an LTH7. Looks like a 6-pin chip with the middle pin missing on that side, so it's functionally a 5-pin chip. So the LTH7 appears to be a charge control chip, which makes perfect sense. Oh, there we go. They've got a schematic I'll have to figure this other stuff out later, but basically we have an LED for charging indication. Yeah, that's reasonable. We have the chip itself, goes out to the battery. It has a programming resistor and a couple of capacitors, and that's it. That's all. One Google translation later, we can see that it has a programmable charge current up to 500 milliamps. This one's not currently charging at 500 milliamps, but it's probably fairly full when I got it. The programming resistor, presumably that 2K resistor will give you 500 milliamp charging. This unit appears to have a 1.5K resistor for that purpose. Oh wait, that doesn't make sense. For a lower charging current, you want a higher resistor. Okay. A higher resistor like that 10K resistor right there. Which makes perfect sense for the 100 milliamp charging current that we're seeing. All right. So that confirms that this is in fact the correct IC. That's good. And the other one says 80595. So this thing is finished charging. It took 29 milliamp hours, so not very much. It was pretty much fully charged already. And I went and tried to look up that chip, the 80585, and came up dry. But I was able to do some digging around on the board, and I came up with just some rough connections. This pin over here, presumably pin 6, is V minus, V plus on pin 5. Capacitor across them for the usual reasons. No contact, no connection over there. No connection over here on pin 1. Down here we have the switch, which switches to V minus. So presumably there's a pull up resistor inside this chip. Microcontroller, question mark, probably. And then pin 2 goes through a 56 ohm resistor to the main LED to light it up. And then it goes to V positive. So this switches down to the negative rail to turn on that LED. And that's about all there is to the circuit, other than, the stuff that belongs to that charging circuit. Fairly straightforward. Not that it's entirely concerning, because I don't think I'm going to be using this thing. I think I will just be salvaging the little cell here, which seems to be a physically solid little specimen. And yeah, I don't see any other use for this little board. It's a neat little thing. It's worth every penny that I didn't pay for it out of the freebie bin at the liquor store. I don't know, it's always just interesting to dive into these things. It does have a charge control chip, which is nice, but it doesn't seem to have any discharge protection or low voltage dropout for the cell, so that's less than ideal. Not that this thing would get a terribly tough life, I suppose, in its normal application. Sitting there blinking away, protecting you from getting run over by stray cars while you're out jogging or something. Yeah, it's just a basic little circuit. No surprises there, other than the anonymous little microcontroller, and I never really expected to find it anyway. But that was a nice, relaxing little exploration. I'm happy to have completed it. Thanks for watching. Questions and comments, as usual, down below in the comment section. I'll talk to you later.